We'll call the regular governing board meeting of the Lammersville Unified School District to order at 7 o'clock p.m. Please note that this meeting is being recorded. At this time, please take a moment to silence or turn off your cell phones. Also, if anyone is here and would like to address the board about a specific agenda item and/or during public comment, please fill out a blue comment card so we know to call on you. Item 1, Pledge of Allegiance. Principal Wingo, if you or one of your team would be so kind as to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
We have Donovan Rudish, one of our ASB students.
Please rise, salute, ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you'd like to continue with your presentation, Principal Wingo.
Yes, I am happy, other President Pombo, you dared me, to introduce Tommy Neary, our ASB President, and Donovan Rudish again, our Vice President. And they're going to talk to you about one of the fun programs that our leadership students facilitate.
Good evening, Lammersville Unified School District board members. My name is Tommy Neary. I'm the current ASB president at Bethany Elementary School. This is Donovan Rudish, the current vice president at Bethany Elementary School. At Bethany Elementary School, our Bobcat pride runs deep, and as an ASB leadership class, we love to provide opportunities for our students and staff to dress up and celebrate on campus. We give out monthly spirit awards to the winning most spirited class in K through 2, 3 through 5, 6 and 6 through 8th grade.
We also encourage and foster a healthy competition between classes by encouraging students to complete an ST Math or Guru depending on their grade. Overall, or in regards to ST Math, we give out 4 awards each month. Overall, highest percent complete ranges from kindergarten to 1st grade with the most percent reached, 2nd grade to 3rd grade with the most percent reached, and finally 4th to 5th with the most percent reached. ASB then goes to classes after the Student of the Month assembly video, and with the help of our Gigi the Penguin mascot, we pass out baby Gigis to the winning classes. In regards to Guru, we give out 2 awards each month. Overall, highest percent complete ranges from 6th to 8th grade with the most progress reached. ASB then goes to classes after the Student of the Month assembly video, and with the help of our kangaroo mascot, we give out baby roos to the winning classes.
Each month, ASB produces a Student of the Month award video that we put on YouTube for teachers to share with their classes. After all classes have seen the ASB Student of the Month video, our activities committee goes around with our 3 mascots, Buster the Bobcat, Gigi the Penguin, and Roo the Kangaroo. They then pass out baby versions of themselves to the winning classes. All our students get so excited to have our mascots visit their room and give out awards. The competition is fierce and fun to participate in. Thank you.
And just a few pictures. They get very excited when they get a visit. Any questions? All right, thank you for having us.
Thank you very much for coming in. Great job, guys. And while I know this is riveting and you'd love to stay, if you do want to depart, you may. Thank you very much for coming in and helping us out today. Item 2, roll call, please.
Lisa Boulay.
Here.
Colin Clements.
Here.
Benita Daniel.
Absent.
Stephanie Olson. Here. David Pombo.
Here.
Sanita Jithendra.
Absent.
Item 3, approval and/or corrections to the agenda.
There are none.
Move to approve the agenda. Second.
Based on a motion by Trustee Olson and a second by Trustee Boulay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries with 4 ayes, no nays, and 1 absent. Item 4, student recognition, Mountain House High School cross-country staff report.
Yeah, I'd like to ask Principal Faubert to be the master of ceremonies here. We have another stellar team who's had a very successful season. We're going to have him come in, take a photo, and roll back out. There's a large number.
Good evening, President Clements, board members, Superintendent Nicholas. I'm going to actually not steal the thunder of the coach this time, and I'm going to invite our assistant coach, Jim Sena, up to announce the accolades and what happened this year for our cross-country team. We have a few of the members of the team and their parents here tonight.
Thank you. All right, I'd like to introduce our cross-country teams. We are here as our freshman, sophomore boys and girls teams. Both teams finished the league undefeated and came in first place. Our girls team finished first place in the sectional qualifier for the section, as the boys did too. And on the sectional meet, which is the furthest they can go in competition, our girls were the champions, and our boys came in second place by 1 point. So they had a very successful season. So I'd like to bring the girls up here. Taking pictures. Okay.
Is everyone smiling?
And I'd just like to say before I bring the boy up, actually only one showed up. Our league champion is Corinne. Corinne's right here. She plays first in the league. She's our league champion for cross-off boys. Boy. Come on up.
One more.
Yeah, come on in.
Just made it. Go ahead.
Did you run here?
Right in the middle.
Thanks, Coach.
Young team, good start. Looking forward to the future.
Okay, on to item 5, staff recognition. Staff report?
Yeah, we have a very exciting announcement. We had 3 administrators in our district be acknowledged. Before we announce what those acknowledgements are, I'd like to recognize Radhika Dinesh, the vice principal of, she was in here a second ago. She's still here?
She's here.
There you are. All right, Ben is 6'10", I can't see you. Who is or I'll say board member of the AXA Region 7 group. She plays an administrative role for them. And she brought us the good news that 3 administrators, starting with Vice Principal of Cuesta Elementary School, Jason Strickland, was named the AXA Region 7 2022 Elementary Co-Administrator of the Year. Jason, stand up. And his partner in administration over there at Cuesta, Heather Sharp, Principal, was named AXA Region 7 2022 Middle Grades Principal of the Year. And Heather Sherburne, Assistant Superintendent, was named AXA Region 7 2022 Curriculum and Instruction Administrator of the Year. Heather was unable to attend this evening, so we'll be accepting her Oscar in her absence. So this is, we have our administrative team across the district are exceptional. It's excellent when any of them get acknowledged. We have a really good group, and it's really nice that hardworking people get acknowledged for the right things and the right reasons. So congratulations to them. And Radhika, thank you for your efforts in supporting the Association for California School Administrators.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nicholas. Item 6, committee reports. A, District Advisory Committee. Trustee Pombo.
Nothing to report.
Item B, District English Language Advisory Committee. The next DLAC meeting is scheduled for April 14th at 6:30, and it is currently planned to be virtual. This upcoming DLAC meeting is also scheduled to be the final DLAC meeting of the current school year. Item C, Education Committee. Trustee Pombo.
Education Committee met last night, and we had a presentation on the CTE programs at Mountain House High School. Very exciting stuff. I can't wait to see where they go with some of the CTE programs in the future, but they've got some wonderful plans at Mountain House High School.
Thank you, Trustee Pombo. Facilities Committee. Trustee Olson.
The Facilities Committee met on February 3rd, and we discussed a potential location for a cricket pitch, and we also discussed the contract with the MHCSD that is also on the agenda this evening for approval.
Thank you. Policy Committee. As the board will recall, the committee's efforts have been temporarily suspended until the end of March, at which time we'll reevaluate. Item F, Safety Committee. Trustee Pombo.
Trustee Olson will give a report on the Safety Committee, please.
The Safety Committee met this afternoon, and we reviewed site updates on safety drills that have been conducted and the success of those drills. We discussed crosswalk concerns and potential motorcycle officer coming to issue citations to protect students that are trying to cross in the crosswalk safely. We also are coordinating a Alice Run Height Fight subcommittee with the sheriff, and we received first drafts of a gender communication and support plan. That concludes my report for that.
Thank you. Wellness Committee. Trustee Pombo.
Wellness Committee will be meeting next week, February 23rd via Zoom at 3:30.
Thank you. Item 7, Governing Board Reports. Trustee Boulay.
Yesterday, I attended the girls' 5-6 and 7-8 basketball game at Cordis. They were playing against Wickland. The multipurpose room was filled with energy and with lots of fans. After having a several-week delay in the basketball program, I think everyone was really excited to get out there, and they were playing hard. And then this evening, I attended the DARE graduation ceremony at Cordis along with Trustee Pombo and Trustee Clements, and so that's why we were barely made the meeting. I apologize, but again, it was exciting to see those fifth graders pledge to be alcohol, drug, and violence free, and really enjoyed those special talent performances that they give. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Trustee Pombo.
I attended the aforementioned Education Committee as well as the Safety Committee earlier today, and I also attended the DARE graduation at Cordis along with Trustee Boulay and the other Trustee Clements, Trustee Olson.
Thank you, Trustee Pombo. Trustee Olson.
Last week, I attended Cuesta Middle School basketball game against Altamont at Cuesta Elementary School, and it was exciting to see the middle school students get an opportunity finally after a long delay. So it just brought me a lot of joy to see them play. I also attended the game at Lammersville yesterday for the 7th and 8th grade teams. I attended 2 Mountain House High School varsity basketball games, one versus Lathrop and one versus Ceres. And the game versus series was cheer and senior night, and the game versus Lathrop was dance senior night. And I'd just like to congratulate all of the seniors in all those endeavors, because it's an exciting time for them, and I'm glad that they get to experience these things. As has already been mentioned, I attended the Safety and Facilities Committee meetings, and I also attended the DARE graduation at Cordis, and I concur with everything Trustee Boulay said about how wonderful it was, and the performances were amazing. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Olson. Item 8, receiving of public comments. The entire board appreciates hearing from members of the community and public at large. To facilitate this, the board shall give members of the public an opportunity to address the board either before or during the board's consideration of each agenda item, Code Section 54954.3. At a time so designated on the agenda, members of the public also may bring before the board matters that are not listed on the agenda of a regular meeting. The board may refer such a matter to the superintendent or designee, or take it under advisement, but shall not take it action at that time. The board may place the matter on the agenda of a subsequent meeting for discussion or action. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. While completion of the blue card is appreciated and helps us ensure that we give a fair opportunity to provide input about their chosen topics, the completion of a blue card is not required. I don't have any blue cards. Is there any member of the public that would like to speak at this time? Come on, up to the dais. Thank you.
Good evening. How you guys doing? Here to talk about mask mandates in the schools. My name is Matt Carpenter. I have been a resident here in Mountain House since 2009. Both my kids attend school here, and we have been a part of this community for a very long time. As a longtime resident of Mountain House who has 2 children that attend school here, I have a vested interest in the long-term health and well-being of not only my children, but of all this community. The past 2 years have been very difficult for all of us, but we have overcome the many obstacles that have been in front of us with adaptation and a sense of doing what the right thing is. As we progress through this, we should be open to new data perspectives and look at what others are doing. There's many studies out there. There's a couple things that are starting to come to light where we're starting to look at more data, more perspectives, different types of ways of handling what we're doing with children in school. I know this is a hot topic. A lot of people have very strong feelings either which way about it. And my goal here is not to try to persuade anyone to do anything, but to simply put it up in front of you to discuss it as an agenda item. I think that we should be allowing the children to make the choice to if they want to wear a mask or not. You know, by all means, if you would like to, please do. I mean, people have that right. And I mean, there's many studies out there, some from Johns Hopkins, where they discuss a lot of other things. I could cite those if you'd like. I don't know if I have enough time to do the rest of that. And there's a lot of other ones that are discussing mental health with the children, which is my primary focus here. You know, we should be trying to normalize our children's education and their lives in these formative years. It's important, you know, and I believe this is the best venue to really discuss that. As these children are in school, they are subject to, you know, different rules and things that come along, and you know, we need to look at what's in their best interest. There's a lot of different things out there with studies and data that's coming out. You know, even the CDC is talking about, you know, massive increases in, you know, suicide and mental health issues, and a lot of these things that are attributed to the current thing going on in our country right now. I think it behooves us all to take a deep look at it and to discuss it and talk about it, bring it up to public forum, and see if we can really come up with something that makes a lot of sense. You know, our children, you know, if we try to, we need to normalize the lives of our children and not require them to wear masks, and have the choice to do so at the household level and not necessarily the school board level. And I would ask for you to add this to the agenda. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Carpenter. As noted earlier, the Brown Act doesn't allow us to respond to matters raised during public comment other than possibly asking for a clarifying question or two. For this reason, the board has a general consensus that the president speaks for the board as a whole during public comment. So on behalf of the entire board, I wanted to say thank you for your comments.
Thank you for hearing me. Have a nice night.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak during public comment? Sure, absolutely.
Hello. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to address the board tonight. I have 2 children in this district, one in Bethany and one at the high school. I would like to ask for your support on a very important topic happening right now in our K-12 schools here in California, and request that they be added to your next meeting agenda. As you may know, Governor Newsom has lifted the indoor mask mandates for adults, but not for our children in schools. What is the logic for allowing adults to unmask but not our children, who are at the lowest risk of this virus? Our kids should be the first to unmask, not the last. Our children have had their faces covered in school for over 700 days now, not being able to see their teachers' or friends' faces and smiles for almost 2 years. This is not normal for kids, and studies show that it is doing more harm to them physically and psychologically. Schools continue to be the safest place for children and adults, including the thousands of schools which never even required masks. Outside of school, our kids live completely normal lives, playing with their friends in the neighborhood, outside and inside homes, unmasked for hours. Then they come to school the next day and are forced to be masked all day in a classroom. Kids need to see their teachers' faces and their facial expressions for them to learn effectively. Even the AFT president, Randy Weingarten, has admitted that masks impede learning and conversations for children. My son wears glasses, and he complains all the time about how he can't see in class because of the fog from his glasses. I could only imagine how this might feel for a child that has a speech impediment or asthma. You may still see it as harmless now, but the fact is that we do not know how masking our children will affect them psychologically in the future. After almost 2 years, it most likely has already done them harm. High school students say that they like masks because it covers their faces, their pimples, or their noses that they are already insecure about. They are not concerned about spreading germs. This is being normalized to make them comfortable not showing their faces and uncomfortable to show them. This is causing them psychological damage by allowing this to continue. This is not okay, and this is child abuse. The CDC also admitted that cloth masks don't work, but still we are forcing our children to wear them every day. Why? Our legislators just approved to extend the state of emergency in California, which keeps these mandates in place. However, I ask you, did you watch the Super Bowl last weekend? Did it look to you like we are in a state of emergency when 80,000 adults, including well-known celebrities, politicians, and mayors were packed into an indoor stadium where masks were supposedly required, but no one was wearing them? They were partying and hugging and yelling. Or how about our very own governor not following his own mandate, I'm seen maskless at the other game at the same stadium, along with San Francisco and LA mayor, who we all know they were not holding their breath. We know this is theater. If we were really in a state of emergency or a pandemic, these big games, and especially the Super Bowl, would not have been allowed to happen. Several schools across the state and other states have announced that they are either lifting their mask mandate from schools or they will not enforce if a child chooses not to wear one, including Roseville and El Dorado School right here in NorCal.
Ma'am, I appreciate your comments. The reason why I have to cut you off is if I let you go, I have to let everyone else go. I have to be fair. The rules are 3 minutes. Thank you very much for your comments. As I mentioned, the board cannot respond to board comment unless it's on an agenda item, but thank you very much for your comments.
Can I just finish off with one last sentence?
One sentence.
May I also remind you, you guys were elected to represent the students, not the state or the teachers' unions. Please do right by our students and parents and support mass choice. I hope you will address these concerns, discuss them amongst the board, and add mass choice as an agenda to your next board meeting. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to speak? Again, thank you very much for your comments. We appreciate it. Item 9, consent items for consideration. Subpoint A, governing board meeting minutes for the regular meeting of February 2nd, 2022. Item B, contracts under $50,000. Item C, ratification of 2021-2022 new hires. Item D, ratification of resignations. Item E, updated 2021-2022 fundraisers. Item F, ratification of budget revisions and warrant list for January 2022. Item G, approval of early high school graduation or reduction of graduation requirements petitions for 7 students as listed. And item H, ratification of school-sponsored overnight trips. Would any board member like to pull a specific consent item for separate discussion and/or deliberations? Or are there any questions or comments about any of the consent items?
Move to approve consent items.
Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Pombo and seconded by trustee Olson, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against? The motion carries with 4 ayes, no nays, and 1 absent. Trustee Olson, would you do the honors, please?
Yes, we'd like to welcome the following new employees to the Lammersville Unified School District family. Rupinder Basra, food service worker. Natalie Bacchetti, accounting clerk, AP and AR. Arabella Bayford, self-contained classroom teacher. Sophia Diaz, campus supervisor. Shauna Gaynor Flynn, self-contained classroom teacher. Brendan Green-Wed, health teacher. Sandy Pantoja, instructional aide. Romalyn Pereda, administrative assistant. And Gloria Perez, noon duty supervisor. Welcome to the Lammersville Unified School District family, and I apologize if I mispronounced your name.
Thank you. Item 10, district administrative reports. Item A, superintendent's report.
Yeah, Mr. President, I only have one short update. A couple weeks ago, we were able to announce that in partnership with our district at Delta College, Fulgent Testing Labs, and the Public Health Department of San Joaquin, that the PCR-based drive-through testing clinic was brought into town. It was part of a countywide effort and direction from the County Board of Supervisors to expand testing throughout the region. It was reported back to me that on the first day that it was open and they were taking appointments, 64 testers came in. So they expect with that as an initial number that the numbers will grow exponentially over time. But they were very happy with the results. And so at this point, we've kind of played our role of getting the word out to the community. And it's a Monday and Friday operation. It goes from, I believe, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. by appointment only. So anyone who's interested in getting a test for PCR test is welcome to go there for free. And that is my report.
Questions or comments by the board? I wanted to say thank you to you and San Joaquin Delta College for teaming up and making that happen. Thank you very much. Item B, district enrollment report. Staff report?
Yes, our enrollment currently is 7,133, but I can tell you it's already bigger. So we're going to hit 7,150 here pretty quick.
Growing by leaps and bounds. Item C, district maintenance and operations report. Staff report.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. Our staffing problems have gotten, I would say, slightly better over the last 2 weeks. We had a few people come back. We still have some openings. Once again, my office and my warehouse staff are out filling in at the sites as much as possible whenever necessary. I'm in medicine training all week up at Folsom. Finished day 3 today. My brain's pretty fried. Sitting there at computer talk for 8 hours in a chair is not what I normally do all week. So 2 more days left, and I'll be glad when it's over, quite frankly. Medisys is the building and system that controls our HVAC at the high school, and Hanson and Cordis and Cuesta, and it'll be at Costa as well when Costa's built. So that's where I'm attending. I received an email yesterday from the San Joaquin Air Quality Board. You may recall we applied for a $100,000 grant to get 5 clean air vehicles. They've asked me for an updated quote, which means that our application is moving forward. And they tell me that we're in the next funding cycle. When that is, I don't really know, but that's at least some positive news. We're moving forward. I did finally receive the report back from Keenan about the hazardous materials inspection in January. I just got it this week. I haven't had a chance to review it. I'll review it with Thor yet, so I will bring that to the next board meeting. And then I was at the facilities committee meeting on the 3rd. Update on solar. The fence is finally reduced at Altamont on the north side of the parking lot, the large parking lot. I think Thor finally put his foot down and said, take the fence down. They did it within a couple days, so. The site is ready for interconnection, and Bethany's ready for interconnection, and so is Hanson. And Wickland, we also got the fence reduced at Wickland too, on the north side, so they could use half the parking lot at least. And then the module installation is completed at Cuesta, Lammersville, and the high school. So that's where we're at with that. Upcoming items next week, I'm meeting with a field engineer at the pool. We're having some problems with the heater, specifically one specific heater. We got one up and running right before swim started, and we have a problem. I need to have someone take a look at it because we've been with problems for a while now. Staffing update. We interviewed last Tuesday for the evening position at Bethany. Ms. Wingo joined me on that. We have a candidate moving forward in the hiring process, but unfortunately we had a resignation at Altamont. So we have the day custodian open there, the lead custodian is open at Altamont. So that's where we're at. We're close to being fully staffed, almost there. That's all I have. Happy to answer any questions.
I have a quick question. That the training that you're doing in Folsom, the HVAC training, will that by chance allow us to control the heating and air at the high school? Because I understand right now we have to call the company to make any changes, or is that something entirely different?
I'm not sure the question. What?
The complicated control system with
Yes.
the HVAC at the high school, and the question is is it always the case that we have to call the company to manage it, or does staff have some rudimentary?
Sorry, the math. Yeah. So ideally, once I go through this, I'm thinking the best way to answer this. Ideally, once I'm through this, I'll be able to handle most of what we need, but I will not be able to handle everything. And quite frankly, I don't have all day to sit at a laptop and give it the attention that it probably needs. So I'm learning how the ability to clean up some of the alarms we getting. I'm learning how to do the calendar, which we've never used, and to set up trends and these kind of things. I could assist. We still have issues with labeling. There's someone else how to fix that. It's very time consuming, but we're going to go through and get that cleaned up. So to answer your question, I'll be able to handle most of it. It's going to take some time to get it to where it needs to be, especially with the high school, because it's so big and they have so many different pieces of equipment. But over the course of the spring and into the summer, I have a little more time. I could get up on the roofs and do things, or have staff go on the roof and help me and do that kind of stuff. But we're never going to be 100% independent. We just don't have the people. We don't have an HVAC tech on site on our staff. So, but the goal is to handle as much as we can moving forward.
Trustee Boulay, the other thing is, for a long time now, we've been having a cost-benefit conversation about bringing in our own HVAC person. So the balance is how much does it cost to bring in the company when we need them versus hiring someone full-time? And can we pay enough to keep someone here who's not going to roll out when the best opportunity rolls around? And as the market goes in the trade, that's a complicated endeavor. So at present, we've kind of stuck with our current plan. It's kudos to Jimmy for picking up the extra. But in a perfect world, we'd have someone who wanted to work for us who could handle all the HVAC for the district.
Thank you.
And the way the market is now, we can't, I mean, those people are in such high demand and they're making way more money than we're able to pay. So it'd be really difficult to find someone. And the high school is very complicated. It has a lot of big equipment, boilers. It's not your normal little package unit on the roof of a classroom. So we need someone with some skill, not someone that's more of a commercial guy than a residential guy. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Questions or comments?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. LeGrand. Item 11, action items. A, consider approval of 2021-2022 intra-district transfer requests. I'm assuming there's no staff report?
Move to approve the 2021-2022 intra-district transfer request.
Second.
Based on a motion by Trustee Olson and a second by Trustee Boulay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries with 4 ayes, no nays, and 1 absent. Item B, consider approval of 2022-2023 inter-district transfer requests.
Move to approve 2022-2023 interdistrict transfer request.
Second.
Ooh, I think Trustee Olson edged you out a little bit. Based on a motion by Trustee Pombo and a second by Trustee Olson, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries with 4 ayes, no nays, and 1 absent. Item C, consider approval of 2022-2023 job share proposals for certificated employees. 1, Mia Hicks and Stephanie Martin, and 2, Corinda Lowther and Jessica McCain. Staff report?
Yeah, the job share proposals are always of the top standard and quality of the 4 individuals here who are asking for board approval. This has been a long-standing practice. It's been very effective. It's been effective for the adults and the students. They do an exceptional job, and I'm proud to be able to say that we have a great faith in their ability to work together and work for the kids, and strongly recommend this as an approval.
I'm excited to make a motion to approve the 2022-2023 job share proposals for certificate employees. Mia Hickson, Stephanie Martin, and Corinda Lowther, and Jessica McCain. I do have experience with one of these teams, and they're just a dynamite team. They work well together, and I think it makes it for a great work-life balance.
And I would just as excitedly like to second that motion because I have experience with the other pair of the teachers, and I wish I could go back and be a first grader in their classroom myself. So happily second that motion.
And I would just like to say that I'm, as always, impressed with the level of detail that the proposal came with. I almost feel like I could teach your class. No, not really. but I am impressed with the level of information that we got.
Based on a full-throated motion by Trustee Boulay and a equally excited second by Trustee Olson, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries with 4 ayes, no nays, and 1 absent. Item D, consider approval of public disclosure form AB 1200 of collective bargaining agreement for Lammersville Teachers Association LTA. Staff report?
Yes, so this is the formal action of adopting the agreement. We start with a sunshine proposal, do a negotiation. Once you get a temporary agreement, then this is the final process. This is what we put out to the public and to the county, who provides oversight. I want to thank our bargaining team, which is Thorsten Harrison, Gloria Grijalva, Sarah Barrios, and I would also like to acknowledge Nick Lanier, the president of LTA, for what was a very professional negotiation and a successful outcome.
Move to approve public disclosure form AB 1200 of collective bargaining agreement for the Lammersville Teachers Association.
Second.
Based on a motion by Trustee Pombo and a second by Trustee Olson, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries with 4 ayes, no nays, and 1 absent. Item E, consider approval of course outlines at Mountain House High School. Staff report?
Yeah, you have to look at course outlines and course offerings at a high school like the ocean. You know, waves are constantly coming in. So what we built in 14-15 when we opened was versus what we're at now, from 450 9th and 10th graders to almost 2,000 9th through 12th graders. Part of the process of expanding opportunities or completing the process of a program like a language program, you have to keep adding courses. So a comprehensive effort over the last couple of years to get these A through G approved, to be written on a high level, to be consistent across the board. We recommend this addition to the palette offered at the high school.
I was really impressed with the courses, the new courses that are being offered, the creativity of the teachers and the admin staff, and kudos to our high school, and move to approve the course outlines at Mountain House High School.
Second.
Based on a motion by Trustee Boulay and a second by Trustee Olson, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries with 4 ayes, no nays, and 1 absent. Item F, consider approval of Governing Board Resolution 21-2206 for issuance and sale of special tax bonds for the Lammersville Joint Unified School District Community Facilities District number 2019-1, Mountain House School Facilities. Staff report?
Yeah, this is a very important perfunctory step in the process to turn Melrose bonds into money to construct Evelyn Costa School. What the board is doing here is approving or giving direction to the finance team to go through the process of selling the bonds that will generate a significant portion of the construction cost as we move forward with our building of our 9th elementary school.
Move to approve Governing Board Resolution 212206 for issuance and sale of special bonds for the Lammersville Joint Unified School District Community Facilities District Number 2019-1, Mountain House School Facilities.
Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Pombo and a second by trustee Belay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries with 4 ayes, no nays, and 1 absent. Roll call vote, please.
Lisa Boulay,
Aye.
Colin Clements,
Aye.
Benita Daniel,
Absent.
Stephanie Olson,
Aye.
David Pombo.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Item G, consider approval of agreement with the Mountain House Community Services District for use of the Mountain House High School Aquatic Center for the 2022 and 2023 summer swim programs. Staff report?
Yeah, this has been an interesting developing, but every year getting a little bit better relationship and a swim program. So with some rumbling, bumbling, and stumbling at the beginning a few years ago, we've come up with a 2-year agreement with the CSD to provide a swim program in the summer. They asked a few years ago to be able to have it be a 2-year agreement to give them longitudinal planning opportunities. We strongly recommend this, and we want to thank Steve Pinkerton and his team for the improvement and the smoothness of this operational version of this agreement.
I'd like to happily move to approve the agreement with the Mountain House Community Services District for use of the Mountain House High School Aquatic Center for the 2022 and 23 summer swim programs.
Second.
Echo what you said about the great work that you've been doing with CSD, and I think it would be great for our children to have this program. So,
Based on a motion by trustee Olson, a second by trustee Belay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries with 4 ayes, no nays, and 1 absent. And I too would echo the appreciation of the cooperation between LUSD and CSD. Item 7, information and discussion items. 2021-2022 Lcap mid-year report. Staff report?
Yes, we have some very exciting bureaucratic reporting to do this evening. Both A and B are associated with the same mandates from the state. I want to compliment Mr. Harrison and the team. Gloria Grijalva will also participate in the presentation. Look, Mr. Pombo and I, Trustee Pombo and I went to Sacramento in 2013, 14, somewhere there, to learn about the LCFF, Local Control Funding Formula. And now, almost 12 years later, or actually, I'm sorry, almost 10 years later, it's morphed into something a little different than what they were talking about then. But this is some of the mandates that we have to do. This checks 2 boxes in the bureaucratic state that says we did what we were supposed to do. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Harrison.
Good evening, Board President Clements, trustees, Dr. Nicholas. Thank you for allowing me to present the supplement to the annual update to the 2021-2022 Local Control and Accountability Plan mid-year report.
This is a supplement to an update to a mid-year report.
Yeah, I apologize for the title, but that is literally the title that we are mandated to discuss this evening. Yes. I keep pressing the wrong button. So before I get started and discuss the ins and outs of our update, the first thing I like to do is inform everybody of what our goals are. So goal 1 is the systematic closure of the opportunity gaps, and that's all students will graduate the LUSD school system, college and career ready, through a coordinated and articulated instructional program that teaches each student the skills of communication, citizenship, critical thinking, collaboration, and creativity. A technology-focused facilities and programs will be a priority with the intent of creating a district-wide one-to-one learning environment. That is LCAP, Local Control Accountability Plan, Goal 1. LCAP Goal 2 is instruction and curriculum efficacy. Lammersville Unified School District is committed to the systematic development of instructional leadership and teaching excellence in all classrooms by identifying, implementing, and institutionalizing research-validated practice district-wide. And LCAP Goal 3 is 21st century outcomes and stakeholder communication. And that is defined as Lammersville Unified School District will provide its community with a high-quality education fostering positive parent relationships
and a system that is focused on a 21st century educational program that supports and includes a rapidly expanding student population. So I've also discussed the 8 state priorities with the board a number of times, and just to remind everybody what the 8 state priorities are, there's the basic conditions of learning, the state standards, parental involvement, pupil achievement, pupil engagement, school climate, course access, and then other pupil outcomes. Before I move on to the next slide, I want to give a little history lesson and tell you where we are now. So when I first presented Lcap to this board a number of years ago, there were 8 state priorities. We still have 8 state priorities, but I want to improve upon your knowledge of the state priorities by telling you how many sub-priorities we have now. So priority 1, there's a priority 1, basic services, A, B, and C. Priority 2 is just priority 2. Priority 3, priority 4 has A, B, C, D, E, and F now, and G and H. Sorry, I almost forgot G and H. Priority 5 has priority A, B, C, D, E. Priority 6 has A, B, and C. 7 stands alone, and 8 has an A and a B.
So as the state is so often likely to do, they keep simplifying it, right?
Yes, sir. That is correct. They have simplified us into multiple subcategories. So with the subcategories, I think I mentioned previously that it moved our Lcap actions around a little bit because the priorities were expanded upon. So as we move forward, I'll be reporting that to the board where the priorities stand and what goals are addressed in each individual, which goals address the individual priorities. But for tonight, I'm going to give you a mid-year summary of Lcap. So when we write the Lcap, there are sections in the Lcap that we address. It's almost like a multifaceted or a multi-sectioned spreadsheet, okay? And the way it's laid out is we have the priority, which I just reviewed the priorities with you, so it could be 5A is the priority. And then following the priority is the metric. So what we're using to measure that goal or that substrate of the goal 1, 2, or 3. Then there's the baseline. The baseline is our measurement for this school year because this is the first year of a 3-year Lcap plan. Our Lcap plans have a 3-year duration. 2020, 21, 22 is year 1 of our 3-year Lcap plan. What I'm going to talk to you tonight is about mid-year progress. One of the mandates for the 21-22 through 22-23 to 23-24 Lcap plan is that we do a mid-year progress report. Well, if you have end-of-the-year measures, you can't give a mid-year progress report. So what we're required to do is give you a progress report that we can give, the measures that we can give at mid-year. And I'll give you an example of that in just a minute. And then finally, we have the end-of-year progress, which is what we want to achieve at the end of the first year. And then we have the desired outcome, which is what we want to achieve by the end of 3 years. And those are, if you think of it as a big spreadsheet that goes horizontally, those are the divisions and the measures that we look at when we look at the individual actions for each goal. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. So here's an example. So priority 4B, percentage of students who meet CSU UC A to G college entrance requirements. Our baseline is 62%, and that comes from the fall 2019 California School Dashboard data. There is no mid-year because this is measured at the end of each school year, right? So where it says outcome, that will be our outcome for year 1, which would be at the end of this school year. Our desired outcome is 68%. So the 68%, you'll notice, is 6%. In general, our growth goal is about 6%, because that's the realistic growth measures that the county advises us and that we're taking 2% per school year for a 3-year plan. The other example I have for you is priority 4C, percentage of students who successfully complete a course sequence or program of study that aligns with the State Board of Education adopted career technical education standards and frameworks. So our baseline was 60% at the fall 2019 California School Dashboard, and our desired outcome is 66%. So let's talk about our mid-year progress and those measures that can be measured at mid-year that fall within our LCAP plan. So priority 4A is percentage of students in grades 3 through 11 whose performance on the MAP assessment is equivalent to a level 3 or higher on CASP. The baseline is ELA at 56%, math at 52%, based on the 2020-21 local assessment. That's the MAP assessment. At mid-year, currently, our overall ELA progress is 61%, and math progress is 54%, based on our local assessment. Our desired outcome is the ELA at 62% and the math at 58% in the 2023-2024 local assessment. Priority 5A is percentage of students attending school daily on average. We want all kids to attend school, and it's one of our measures. So our baseline is a 96% attendance rate for the 2019-20 SIS, which is School Information System, which is where we get the data from. The mid-year currently, well, not right now, but at mid-year, we had a 96.05% attendance rate for the 2021-22 Student Information System. Now, our desired outcome in 2023-24 is 96.6%.
Point of information?
Yes.
So if we're on the ELA, if we're currently at 61 and the desired outcome, which is the 2023-24 62. So if we get to this time at the end of the year and we're already at 62, is that goal for 23-24 going to go up?
That goal stays the same. It does not move. They don't allow us to move that bar.
Okay, sorry.
So, but to add to that, the ELA assessment, obviously at mid-year is a little different test than they take at the end of the year. It gets more rigorous.
Oh.
So.
All right. So the mid-year status is not exactly apples to apples with, oh.
Yes.
For a poor construction finance guy, this is a little confusing. Okay. Sorry for interrupting.
It's not just you. LCAP Goal 1, mid-year, still on LCAP Goal 1. Priority 5B, percentage of students in K-12 identified as chronically absent who are absent from school 10% or more of total days enrolled. So obviously this is a moving target because if we take the measure at mid-year, it could be different by the end of the school year depending on how many days a student has missed. But we're required to take a measurement at mid-year, so we do. The baseline is 7.4% based on the fall 2019 California School Dashboard reporting. At mid-year, currently, well, not currently, but in December, we are at 6.5% of a chronically absent students. And that's based on the fall 2021 SIS report, Student Information System. Our desired outcome is to go down and have less students miss school or have less students be truant. So our goal is 6.8% in the fall of 2023 on the California School Dashboard. Priority 8, the metric, still in LCAP Goal 1, percentage of high school students who receive one or more DF grade annually. This is a high school measure. Our baseline is 22% in the 2019-20 Semester 2 Student Information System. At mid-year, we were at 21.01% in the fall of 2021. That's not accurate. Yeah, that is accurate. Fall of 2021 Student Information System. Sorry, lost my spot there. And then our desired outcome is 16% or less students getting a D or an F in a given high school course in the 2023-24 Semester 2 Student Information System. And note, it is Semester 2 is our measure, not mid-year, but we still have to do a mid-year report if we have the data to report. LCAP Goal 1 mid-year, Goal 7, or Priority 7A. All students have access to and were enrolled in a broad course of study as indicated in Education Code 51-210. This essentially means that all students had the opportunity to take core classes, elective classes, PE, CTE classes, AP classes, advanced classes, a full spectrum of courses at the high school. Our baseline for our socioeconomically disadvantaged students is 14% of our high school was socioeconomically disadvantaged. 15% of our socioeconomically disadvantaged students took a CTE course. 10% took an AP course, and 0 took the early college program. For EL, high school students, we had 3% of our high school was EL, or English learners. 2% of those ELs, or the students that were EL at the school, took a CTE course. 1% AP and 0 took an early college offering. This was out of the 2020-2021 Student Information System. At mid-year, the socioeconomically disadvantaged students consisted of 17% at the high school. The CTE students, the number of CTE students taking the CTE course offering was 13%, AP was 3%, early college was 12%, and for the English learners, we had 5% at the high school, 2% taking CTE courses, 1% AP, and 0 early college. That is mid-year or semester 1 at the 2021-22 school year. Our desired goal is equity, meaning that if we use the mid-year goal and the high school has 17% socioeconomically disadvantaged students, there are 17% of students or more in the CTE classes, the AP classes, and the early college program. So what we're looking for is an equitable representation across classes, which is our goal for the end of the school year and for 2023-24.
Can I ask a clarifying question? So essentially then we want to see 17% for all those numbers? Is that
Or higher.
Okay.
Our goal obviously is we'd like
Right.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Point of clarification. So if equitable representation across classes, so the way that we define that is, so I think I was misunderstanding. You're saying socially and economically disadvantaged, of those students represented 17%, and of those 17%, 13% of the 17% took CTE.
I was not, no. 13% of
our CTEs are socially and economic.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I didn't say that clearly. Thank you for pointing
All
that
right.
out.
Now I understand
Thank you.
how this is telling us about equitable representation.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry.
No, thank you for clarifying. Any other questions? Okay. LCAP Goal 2 mid-year. So we're on to LCAP Goal 2. And just so you're aware, LCAP Goal 1 is pretty heavy in subsections. LCAP Goal 2 and LCAP Goal 3 have less because of the way the priorities have moved around, which I gave a presentation previously to the board about how things had moved around. And I will do again when we present the full LCAP for the annual update later on in the school year. Priority 6A, percentage of students who are suspended at least once during the academic year. Baseline is 1.7% of students, and that's out of the 2019-20 data quest. At mid-year, at December, we had 0.85% for the fall of 2021 out of our student information system. And then our desired outcome is 1.6% for the 2023-24 data quest. And the reason that our desired outcome is a 0.1% because it's such a larger percentage, number of students, it was suggested to us to not do the 6% that we had done in other goals. It was good to have a goal of 0.1% because of the sheer volume of students.
Just a clarifying question. The 0.85% is basically where you would expect to be at the mid-year point because they have the rest of the school year for the rest of the kids to catch up.
Yep.
Oh, so that's not an annualized number, that is just sheer data number.
It's at mid-year.
Oh.
It's a mid-year number.
Good-
So,
good catch.
but the thing is, it's at least once, right? So we don't have a duplicated count in there.
So if the same kids get suspended, then it doesn't add to it.
Correct. Yes. Priority 6B, percentage of students who are expelled from the district during the academic year. Our baseline out of the 2019-20 data quest is 0.21%. Our mid-year for the fall of 2021 out of the student information system is 0.04%. And our desired outcome, and we set 0 as our desired outcome. I know that's a lofty goal, but that is a goal that we set for 2023-24.
I'm all for that goal.
So one of the additional items that we are required to do when we are giving our mid-year summary report, let me just go back. You'll notice we have LCAP Goal 2 mid-year. Our LCAP Goal 3, there was no data that we could give for a mid-year report. I don't want you to think I'm skipping LCAP Goal 3, but there was no data to give for a mid-year. So the next set of slides, Gloria Grijalva is going to come up and discuss our Lcap expenditures, which encompasses item B in info discussion. But as you can see, there's a breakdown of goal 1, 2, and 3, and we have to report our expenditures and the types of items that we're spending our money on when it comes to the local control accountability plan. Thank you.
Okay, so for goal 1, our systematic closure of opportunity gaps, we have spent as of December, $16,928,246. Goal 2, instruction and curriculum efficacy, $1,568,848. And goal 3, 21st century outcomes and stakeholder communication, $93,220. Which one is this one? So these are the expenditures as of the end of December. In goal 1, 18 priorities: support staff, teachers, maintenance and operations, MAP, PLTW, CTE, visual performing arts, and athletics. In goal 2, there are 4 priorities: professional development, psychologists, RN, behaviorists, technology, staff, and PLC work. And in goal 3, there's 1 priority, and we've used funds for the technology plan, ARIES, and EdLeo. This next section is a summary of the supplement to the annual update to the 21-22 LCAP. And this section of it is a summary of funds from the American Rescue Act that other state and federal funds that were provided for the recovery of the pandemic and their alignment with the LCAP. So there were funds given to us and they're aligned with the LCAP, but they weren't necessarily in the LCAP. The first one is the Senate Bill 117. Those funds were provided for nutrition services, cleaning and disinfecting of facilities, PPE, bipolar ionization, and to provide students with opportunities for distance learning. And just so you know, this is also the bill that was provided for the hold harmless ADA that was actually harmful for us because we couldn't claim the growth. The CARES COVID Relief Fund, this is how and when these one-time federal funds are intended to support the recovery. We had a safe return to school environments, desk barriers, bipolar ionization, Zoom, and all other CARES and COVID relief funds. For example, we had the expanded learning opportunities, the learning loss and continuity, the safe return to in-person instruction, and continuity plans. So each one of those required a plan to be submitted, so they didn't have to be in the LCAP. A description of how the district is implementing the Federal American Rescue Plan Act and Federal Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Expenditure Plan and the successes and challenges experienced during implementation. For ESSER 3, we had Leo and Ingenuity. learning loss mitigation. Our principals went to a school climate conference. And successes were school setting options and expansion of mental health and PBIS. We were able to establish these multiple programs and address staff and student needs. The challenges were also staffing. We received less funding than most other districts because Lammersville has a lower unduplicated count than most districts in the county. And unduplicated students are children who are homeless, foster, English learners, and low income.
Point of clarification. Under challenges, I'm not sure I understood what you said on school setting options.
Well, it's the school setting options and a success were all the various programs. The challenges to that were with staffing and some of the other setup and things that we had to handle in that area.
Okay, all right.
Description of how the district is using the fiscal resources for the 21-22 year in a manner that is consistent with the applicable plans and aligned with the LCAP and the annual update. Those were the expanded learning opportunities grants, the learning loss and continuity plan, the safe return to in-person instruction. We were able to provide summer school curriculum. There was a percentage of it set aside for paraprofessionals, learning loss, technology so that we were able to go one-to-one with everything, and then safe environment, PPE, and then after-school enrichment and tutoring. And just one last comment, the supplement to the annual update to the 21-22 LCAP will be brought forward for adoption with the LCAP in June. Any questions?
I just, kind of more of a comment question, but just if you could confirm this for me. Is a lot of people are asking, you know, where did the money go that we got from all of these extra, you know, acts? And I just, for the record, there were very strict stipulations on how those funds could be spent. Is that correct? So that you couldn't just decide, oh, I just want to do this or that. You had to stick within the parameters of each of the bills.
Each one had their own set of parameters related to it. The ones I mentioned tonight were not in a plan. All of the others had a required plan or that we had to write and present. So they're all available for review if anybody wants to see them.
And I think members of the community hear some of the things that other districts like Stockton have done, and they go, why can't we do that here? And if I'm correct, like Stockton got like 6,000 per student because of their concentrations,
Correct.
and we got 600 per student.
Correct.
Correct.
So we got 10% of the money per student, 10% per student, not 10%, 10% per student.
The money wasn't really coming in from an angle of an academic perspective. It was coming in for a health perspective and learning loss perspective, but they really concentrated the focus on high poverty and issues related to communities that are dealing with all the things related to that.
And I'm not necessarily disagreeing with that, but you can do a lot more with 6,000 per student than you can with 600 per student.
Absolutely.
And that just further compounds the fact that we get about half per student through the
Normal state funding.
normal state funding channels
Right.
that Stockton gets to begin with, so we're already trying to play catch-up.
That would be the supplemental and concentration through the LCFF. We only get supplemental.
And small proportion comparatively.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments? I asked mine as we were going. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Nicholas, I think we're on item C. Is that correct?
That is correct,
Okay.
because we were able to cover the supplement to the annual update
Okay.
within the other one.
Item C, LUSD field use short-term / long-term staff report.
Yeah, so one of the interesting parts of my job is I kind of hear a lot of information that's moving around the system. And one of the things that came to my attention was it was time for us to just kind of generally talk about the growth of the community and new resources that are coming into the community that might impact some of the systems we've put in place. In particular for this item, the facilities subcommittee, because the facility subcommittee's role has been to absorb concerns and questions and requests of the community related to kind of the way things used to be. Meaning we have a manual, we have people who want to use facilities, we have a process, and that's worked beautifully for us. What I wanted to give the board an update on is, as we're making decisions about what facilities we build and what facilities we provide to the community, I wanted to also let you know new facilities are coming to the community through what will be overseen by the Mountain House Community Services District. Noah, can you put it on that map, please? So 3 parks plus a neighborhood park are going to be built in the short term. I don't have a timeline, and multiple plans are moving through. So this is intended just to give a general overview. But if you look to the south part of the community, there's a little circle there that Noel's circling with the arrow. And if you go to the central park in the center part of town just above where we're at, the park's going to double in size. And then if you go up to north of the Byron Highway, another park. These are big community parks, which are going to feature a number of activities. So if we start with the northern park, it's going to be approximately a 20-acre park, and and all these plans have to be approved and everything's subject to change. So I'm just giving you a general idea. Amongst other things, in the 20-acre North Community Park, possible cricket fields, pickleball complex, outdoor fitness equipment, badminton, volleyball, basketball, and other sports courts are going to be planned there. So in particular with the work we've done with the community around tennis courts, the strain of the community's desire of its tennis courts in Central Park and Mountain House High School, these complexes will now take place. So it's going to change the dynamics of the conversation at the subcommittee and the board approval level. When you go to the Central Community Park section, that's going to be 56 acres, which includes bike paths, a multi-use, multi-generational recreational and community center, aquatic facility, amphitheater, skateboard plaza, softball pinwheel complex, baseball field, soccer, and cricket fields.
Will Central Park grow by an additional 56 acres, or will it be 56 acres in total once that expansion takes place?
Not 100% sure, but it says here in a parenthetical, includes 9.1 acres along the creek. So I don't know the answer to that. All I have is what it says here.
And did you mention additional tennis courts in Central Park?
Going right here, you're right on it,
okay.
Trustee Boulay.
Okay.
Also included in Central Park, multi-tennis court complex, volleyball, badminton, and basketball courts, and a loop trail. I'm not sure what that is, but I'm assuming it's a circle. So, so you've got that expansion. And then in the South Community Park, you've got 20.2 acres, which includes 1.2 acres in the adjacent PG&E utility easement. There's a underground stuff that runs through a portion of that part of town. And they're going to have ball fields, again, all subject to change, but ball fields for tournament play, which are lighted and bleachered. Basketball court complex, climbing wall, skateboard, bike path, another loop path, trail staging area, outdoor fitness equipment, and such. So where we used to be kind of the only show in town, these things are moving through the approval process. And this is the executive top summary of a 153-page document that has already been approved at the CSD level and has to go to the county. But I don't recall which, but I believe the original work that's going to start in Central Park might be as early next year. Again, all subject to change. But we're like going one school at a time. And when we built Cordis, we said, we need JV softball, JV baseball. We don't have any field space. We got shorted on the original allocation of acreage for the high school in the first place. Well, let's build a JV baseball at the Cordis site, and let's convince and work with the developer to support softball, JV softball in the park across from the tennis courts. So that's the old way we were doing business. The new way is all of these facilities are going to come in. So I think it's important for the board to kind of just get a general update that probably in the next 2-3 years, we're going to see a significant change in what we're doing. We are building at the Costa school site our first cricket field, which can also double as other things when it's not being used. to support community interests, along with a baseball field and such. But if we keep being asked at the facilities committee level, can you guys build us this? Can you guys build us that? I think we need to be aware, all of us, that a lot of new facilities are coming, in particular with the cricket fields and tennis courts, and then that rec center and the aquatic center. So it's good for the whole community, but the pressure on us is going to hopefully be relieved. And I wanted to give the board an update on that, so they had an opportunity to be aware. That's my report. Any questions?
Questions from the board? So I do. I thank you very much for presenting this. Part of me is like, oh yeah, all this is coming, kind of like a grocery store. And part of me is like, okay, but the more rational part of me is saying, okay, it makes sense to take a solid look at the facilities that are planned so that we complement rather than duplicate or whatever, is going to be better for the community as a whole. And for my part, as on the facilities committee, I get it. We're looking kind of myopically through our little binoculars, and we have like a much narrower focus, with good intent.
Absolutely.
But I do see that, okay, we should take a look at the bigger picture. And so I wanted to specifically, because the facilities committee did say, okay, we found a spot that we think a cricket pitch would go. And because of the dynamic, the change in the use of that field at, help me out, Bethany, right? Mm-hmm. We thought, okay, that makes sense. So I wanted to, take my own lashings as a member of the facilities committee and say, okay, I get it. We probably need to take a step back and see what's going on. But by the same token, and what the CSD is doing, by the same token, I don't want to wait forever. Like we've been waiting for the,
Well, if I could add to what you're saying, I think that the facilities committee, when considering these things, has our students at the forefront of the decisions anyhow. Like, while it will benefit the community to do something, we're looking at what the students are interested in and want to provide them, and which, would be great. If we have a lot of students interested in cricket, we should be providing them a means to have that on the school sites and, incorporate that into their education as well. So I don't think it's, like you said, yeah, like I'm so excited about this, like, but at the same token, I've lived here a long time, and I was told 2 to 3 years when I first moved here for a lot of these things.
what year did you move here?
2007.
Well, I moved here in 2004, and they said 2 to 3 years.
So I still have a little bit of skepticism and cynicism in me too.
I guess the purpose, from my perspective, is maybe having a presentation from a member of the staff, the CSD, who can talk in great detail, and you guys can kind of drill down on timelines. I get concerned when it's like, would it be terrible if we spent the money on a field and then it gets duplicated in the park 2 blocks away, with our good intentions, because we go get things done,
right?
And have done so for this community for a long time. Knowing all this was coming, I thought, I better put this out there and give you guys a chance to discuss it, and maybe if you direct staff to do so, we'll ask them to send over a staff member. And
well, that's what I was going for, was a consensus that if we could understand a little bit more, and I'm not saying, I don't know what vehicle the board, knowing more about what those plans look like, would take. I don't know if it's a presentation here or it's a presentation there and we all go and listen, but we don't ask questions,
right.
Something, just so we don't, because your point is well taken, that we don't want to duplicate. We don't, we do have finite resources in this community. We want to share to the extent we can, and we want to be smart where, wherever possible. So I think I would like a consensus, I would ask if there is a consensus, that would be the appropriate next step.
Go ahead.
I agree. I would be very interested in a realistic timeline for these facilities coming online. Because if there's something that might happen a decade or two from now, then I don't know that us knowing more about it now makes a lot of difference.
That's a
Fair point.
In addition, though, to knowing what is planned by the CSD, I think it might be helpful if we can gather data through our reservation system and in terms of the usage for each different types of fields, so that we can see, what are the highest use fields, at least things that we have.
That would be a good data point. There are, in the case of cricket, which is what the facilities committee did recommend, that we take a Bethany, which is no longer going to be used for JV, and make a cricket pitch there. You're going to find that there aren't any reservations because there currently isn't any facilities, which doesn't imply that there isn't anybody that wants to use it. So it's only a data.
Well, data for what we have, of course.
Based on what we have, yes.
And another point of contemplation is, okay, the high school is currently just under 2,000 students. It's built for 2,400. We've built a 21st century high school model, so we're going to fill up very, very, very fast. Okay, so if we get additional growth and all of the development ideas that big idea developers have out there that may build if politics and voting and all that stuff plays out, the high school could grow beyond 2,400 exponentially. Then you're starting to talk about freshman teams, JV teams, varsity teams in multiple sports. And so it's just kind of a balance of what can we do now? What do we need for our kids? What's really going on in the community with real timelines? And then where are we going as a high school in particular, and all the different opportunities that could come along. It was not too long ago that lacrosse became a big deal sport. It was not too long ago that soccer was the forefront of a lot of sport ideas, and they require fields. And then it kind of shifts, right? And then there's other sports that come along. So if we end up being with a large group of students, then people will start asking for additional sports and things to do. So that's just another thing for the board to consider is...
Already are.
Yeah, it's like boom, 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 boom. And so last I heard, Mr. Faubert is never short for a lot of good ideas. And so, people are going to come in. And so like all of a sudden, if we have a freshman football team, marching band, lacrosse, freshman soccer, and all that going on, and we've got one field in between the varsity field of softball and baseball, and the varsity team's practicing on, any varsity team is practicing in the stadium. Whoops. So that's, we're doing a lot of work in that, but just things to consider along the way.
So does staff, do you have what you need in terms of a...
As I understand it, I'm being asked two things, is to take a look at some data for field usage, and we're looking at possibly a reach out to the CSD to have them come in and give some real information about the park plan so that the subcommittee can know, and then ultimately if we need to, we can have a come back, or staff can come back with that information to the whole board.
That would be fine, or they could send a representative to a board meeting and give a presentation, and we would all have an opportunity to ask questions of them, and then the committee could take over from there in fine-tuning what information we gather.
Easily done.
Yeah, that would be my preference, but to get the information, if having somebody come and present isn't an option, then
we'll go to Plan B.
We'll go to Plan B. Any additional comments, concerns on item C?
No.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nicholas. Item 13, calendar. A, Monday, February 21st, 2022, President's Holiday, district facilities closed. B, Wednesday, February 23rd, 2022, Wellness Committee meeting at 3:30 p.m. It will be a virtual meeting. C, Wednesday, March 22nd, or March 2nd, 2022, the next regularly scheduled governing board meeting at 7 p.m. here in the district office boardroom. In a moment, we will adjourn to closed session where we will be discussing public employee discipline dismissal release complaint, Government Code Section 54957. B, conference with labor negotiators, Government Code Section 54957.6. C, conference with real property negotiators, Government Code Section 54956.8. And D, conference with legal counsel, anticipated legal litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9. E, public employee appointment, employment evaluation superintendent, Government Code Section 54357.6.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Pombo and a second by trustee Olson, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries with 4 ayes, no nays, and 1 absent. We are adjourned to closed session. Thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate you coming.